Chapter number 12, I say study material questions. Test your understanding 1. Sukanya, a CA final student, is of the view that cyber risks are issues of IT and result only in information loss to an entity. She also feels that many cyber attacks are not directly targeted at the financial systems and do not pose risk of material misstatements to financial statements of an entity. Is her view proper? The cyber risks are not an issue of IT alone. Rather, it is a business risk and has an effect on whole business organization. It affects entities' reputation and can lead to many other consequences which are listed below. Regulatory costs, business interruptions causing an operational challenge for an organization, data loss, reputation loss and litigation, ransomware, some common more com- more common these days where entire systems are encrypted, intellectual property theft, which may not only take the competitive advantage, but we may also result in an impairment, any impairment or impediment charge because of the loss of intellectual property, incident response cost, which could be for investigations and remediations, breach of privacy. If personal data of a consumer is hacked, it could have a significant impact on the organization, fines and penalties. It may happen that many cyber attacks are not directly targeted at financial systems. However, the access gained by the attackers may provide them the ability to manipulate or modify financial records, modify key automated business rules, modify automated controls relied upon by the management. Further, auditors should consider whether cyber risk, like other business risk, represents a risk of material misstatements to the financial statements as a part of the audit risk assessment activities. Focus should be on understanding the cyber risk factors affecting cyber risks affecting the entity and the actions being taken to address these risks. Next, case study. What has happened? The CEO of a hotel realized their business had become the victim of wire fraud when the accounts payable executive began to receive insufficient fund notifications for regularly recurring bills. A review of the accounting records exposed a serious problem. Upon investigating, it was noted that the CEO had clicked on a link in an email that he thought was from the trusted source. However, it wasn't, and when he clicked the link and entered his credentials, the cyber criminals captured the CEO's login information, giving them full access to intimate business and personal details. This type of attack is social engineering phishing attack. A phishing attack is a form of social engineering by which cyber criminals attempt to trick individuals by creating and sending fake emails that appear to be from an authentic source, such as a business or colleague. The email might ask you to confirm personal account information, such as a password, or prompt you to open a malicious attachment that infects your computer with malware. Result: the hotel's cash reserves were depleted. The fraudulent transfers amounted to more than 1 million rupees. The hotel also contacted a cyber security firm to help them mitigate the risk of a repeat attack. Impact: business lost rupees 1 million and the funds were not recovered. Further, there was a loss of business reputation too. Lessons learned: train the staff about the dangers of clicking on unsolicited email links and attachments, and the need to stay alert for warning signs of fraudulent emails. Engage in regular email security training. Implement stringent wire transfer protocols and include a secondary form of validation, that is multi factor authentication. Have a cyber incident response plan ready to implement. Next, test your understanding too. CAY is planning to use CAT extensively in audit of a company B, be it for compliance test or substantive tests. Can you list out examples of few situations in brief of tests performed by him using CATs? First, identify exceptions. Identify exception transactions based on set criteria. For example, cash transactions above 10,000. Next, identify errors. Identify data which is inconsistent or erroneous. For example, account number which is not numerical. Verify calculations. Reperform various computations in audit software to confirm the results from application software confirm with audit software. For example, TDS rate applied as per criteria. Next, existence of records. Identify fields which have null values. For example, invoices which do not have vendor name. Next, data completeness. Identify whether all fields have valid data. For example, null values in any key field, such as date, invoice number, or value or name. Next, data consistency. Identify data which are not consistent with the regular format. For example, invoices which are not in the required sequence. Next, duplicate payments. Establish relationship between two or more tables or as required. For example, duplicate payment for same invoice. Next, accounts exceeding authorized limit. Identify data beyond specified limit. For example, transactions entered by user beyond their authorized limit or payment to vendor beyond amount due or overdraft allowed beyond limit. Next case study, XY Bank, headquartered in New York, offers a broad range of financial services, including asset management, commercial banking, investment banking, and treasury and security services. The five Indian banks, in partnership with XY Bank, provide a comprehensive range of banking services and products encompassing, encompassing retail banking, corporate banking, international banking, and other financial services. All these banks have been significant contributors to the digitalization of the banking services in India. Under the pilot program, the Indian banks will open on-chain Nostro accounts with XY Bank branch in Gift City. The blockchain-based system is expected to facilitate instant 25 by 7, 24 by 7 settlement between the accounts held at the US bank. Essentially, it will create a private intra-correspondent banking network, redefining the traditional banking hours and enabling seamless money transfer. Following are the illustrative steps for performing audit of above said blockchain. Obtain a comprehensive understanding of the blockchain based pilot program, including its objectives, scope, and key process involved. Review the partnership agreements, contracts, and legal documentation governing the relationship between Indian banks and XY Bank. Identify the specific blockchain technology used, its functionalities, and the underlying smart contracts. Access internal controls. Review policies and procedures relating to the on chain Nostra accounts, settlement process, and money transfer mechanisms. Assess the governance framework, risk management practices, and compliance procedures established by the Indian Bank and XY Limited, XY Bank. Review security measures, assess encryption methods, cryptographic key management, and secure transmission protocols used for data protection. Review measures taken to prevent unauthorized access, cyber threats, and potential vulnerabilities in the blockchain network. Test transaction validity and accuracy. Validate the transactions are recorded and settled accurately on the blockchain, ensuring adherence to relevant regulations and contractual obligations. Perform reconciliations between on-chain Nostra accounts and the corresponding accounts held at XY Bank to confirm the accuracy of the balances and transactions. Next, evaluate compliance and regulatory requirements. Review documentation and procedures related to customer due diligence, transaction monitoring, and reporting obligations. Ensure that the pilot program adheres to industry specific standards and best practices. Next, assess business continuity and disaster recovery. Evaluate the adequacy of backup and recovery procedures, redundancy measures, and failover mechanisms to ensure uninterrupted operations. Test the effectiveness of these plans by conducting simulations or examining historical incidents and response procedures. Next, report findings and recommendations. Provide recommendations for improving internal controls, security measures, compliance procedures, and overall efficiency and effectiveness of the pilot program. Communicate the audit results to the relevant stakeholders. highlighting areas of concern and suggesting remedial actions. Next case study, a large passenger carrier is having an AA bot for passenger ticket booking with the following process. User interaction. The bot interacts with passengers through various channels such as a website, mobile app, or messaging platforms. Passengers can initiate a conversation with the bot by providing their travel details, preferences, and other required information. Natural language processing NLP. The bot utilizes natural language processing techniques to understand and interpret the passenger's queries and requests. It can process text or voice inputs and extract relevant information to facilitate ticket booking. Query handling. The bot responds to passenger queries related to the ticket availability, fares, train schedules, seat preferences, and other relevant information. It can provide real time updates and answers to common passenger questions. Booking process. Upon receiving a booking request, the boat collects the necessary details from the passenger, including travel dates, destinations, class preferences, and passenger information. It validates the inputs, checks seat availability, and calculates fares based on the carrier's pricing structure. Next, integration with booking systems. The boat interfaces with the carrier's booking systems to check seat availability, reserve seats, and process payment transactions. It securely communicates with the backend systems to initiate the booking process. Payment processing. The boat facilitates secure payment transactions, allowing passengers to provide payment details and complete the booking. It may integrate with various payment gateways or services to process credit card payments, net banking, or other payment methods. Confirmation and ticket generation. Once the booking is successfully processed, the boat generates a booking confirmation along with a unique ticket number. It provides the passenger with the necessary information, including the ticket details, train information, and any other relevant instructions. Ancillary services. The boat may offer additional services such as seat upgrades, meal selection, travel insurance, or other ancillary offerings. It can provide information and assist passengers in availing these services during the booking process. Post book Post booking support. The boat can assist passengers with post booking support, including itinerary changes, cancellations, or ticket modifications. It handles these requests, checks the carrier's policies, and processes the necessary changes as per the passenger's requirements. Integration with customer support. The bot may be integrated with customer support systems to escalate complex queries or issues to human agents when necessary. It can provide a seamless transition from automated assistance to human interaction, ensuring a high level of customer service. Following other illustrative steps to audit ticket booking board system. Identify the objectives and goals of auditing the IRCTC ticket booking board. Determine the scope of audit, including the specific aspects of the board's functionality and operations to be evaluated. Review relevant regulatory and compliance standards applicable to the ticket booking process, such as data protection and privacy regulations, payment card industry standards, and any specific industry guidelines. Identify and assess potential risks associated with the ticket booking board, such as unauthorized access to customer data, system failures, or inaccurate booking information. Develop a comprehensive set of audit procedures to assess the effectiveness, efficiency, and compliance of the ticket booking bot. This may include reviewing the system architecture, design, and documentation, evaluating the security measures in place, including authentication, access controls, and encryption, testing the bot's functionality by simulating booking scenarios and verifying the accuracy of the results, assessing the performance of the bot, such as response times and scalability, analyzing logs and audit trails to detect any unusual or suspicious activities, examining the data handling process, ensuring proper encryption, storage, and protection of customer data, verifying compliance with relevant regulations, policies, and procedures, conducting penetration testing or vulnerability assessment to identify potential weaknesses in the board securities, decide on the appropriate sampling methodology to evaluate the board's performance and compliance. This may involve selecting a representative sample of booking transactions or data for analysis. Conduct the audit based on the defined procedures, following best practices and professional audit standards. Document your findings, including any issues or areas of improvement identified during the audit. Compile the audit findings into a comprehensive report detailing the audit objectives, scope, procedures performed, and results. Provide recommendations for addressing any identified weaknesses, risks, or non compliance issues. Present the report to relevant stakeholders such as management, IT teams, and compliance officers. Track the implementation of recommended actions and ensure appropriate measures are taken to address any identified weaknesses. Periodically review and monitor the board's performance, security, and compliance to ensure ongoing effectiveness. Next, test your understanding 3. A company is planning to use robotic process automation (RPA) to streamline its hiring process. Earlier, the company used to hire from campuses of various management institutes, leading to high recruitment costs, inefficient higher yield, and resultant lack of diversity. How RPA, robotic process automation, can be used to automate the hiring process. List out tentative few such steps. What could be likely benefits of using RPA in hiring process? RPA, robotic process automation, can be used to streamline hiring process in a company. The tentative steps could include place advertisements on social media or career advice sites, link redirects candidates to a career site, career site pulls information of the candidate, an algorithm scans applicants for desired and suitable roles. Selected candidates may be asked to play online games to assess their risks. A certain percentage of those applicants are called for a video interview using an interview software. The automated hiring process will reduce full time efforts involvement, provide with a wider assessment range, reduce the impact of recruiter biasness, increase the efficiency of mapping of interested candidates, reduce recruitment costs, increase high yield, reduce time to hire, and increase diversity. Integrated case scenario. Consider the following 5 situations. Safe Health Insurance Limited is a company working in a field of health insurance sector. It is now using a claim management system where incoming claims can be immediately identified on the website itself. A form is used to the customer who signs it. The details are verified by the system against data present in it. Such a system has allowed faster processing of claims, error free data validation, and increased customer satisfaction. During the course of audit of a company, it is noticed that a cyber attack took place on the data in which files were encrypted and computers got locked. The hacker then demanded a booty for decryption of files, which was to be paid in bitcoins. CAX, auditor of the company, is looking into cyber security risks of the company. He is making inquiries regarding processes and controls relating to privileged account access, patch management program, vendor risk management program. He has also performed external network penetration testing. Verification, verifica- Verificatory is an entity which can stamp emails or any files. It simplifies certifying of emails by just emailing to them to an email specifically created for each customer. Many law firms can use this service to certify documents. The information is secured by network of thousands of computers distributed across the globe. It uses cryptographic algorithms. The information can be verified from anywhere in the world. It hashing, its hashing and timestamping is of significant evidentiary value. Next, CAX is planning for audit of an entity. The timelines are agreed in a meeting with key management person on a electronic meeting platform. The entity also agrees to provide data electronically. Video conference meetings are to be held from time to time with the client. Keeping in view above situations, answer the following questions. In respect of the situation regarding working of insurance company in health insurance sector, which of the following technologies has likely to be used? Internet of Things, Internet of Things, data analytics, robotic process automation, RPA, Power BI. Robotic process automation, RPA, can be used. Next, which type of cyber attack is referred to in situation described in para B? Para B. During the course of audit of the company, it is noticed that a cyber attack took place on the data in which files were encrypted and computers got locked. The hacker then demanded a booty for decryption of files, which was to be paid in bitcoins. This is the type of ransomware. Next, in situation described at C above, which is not a part of risk assessment procedure to assess cyber security risks, making inquiries regarding processes and controls relating to privileged account access. Next, making inquiries regarding process and controls relating to patch management program, making inquiries relating regarding process and controls relating to vendor risk management program, performing external network penetration testing. Option D is correct. This is not a part of a risk assessment procedure to assess cyber security risks. The kind of services being provided by an entity described in D above are examples of use of blockchain technology. Option A. Which of the following is false in an audit described in at para E? Para E. Para E is regarding video conferencing meetings. The opportunity to present doctored documents and to omit relevant information is decreased. Remote access to sensitive IT systems may not be allowed. It provides comfort and flexibility to the audit team as they would be working from their home or office or home environment. Time zone issues could also affect the efficiency of audits. Option A is false. The opportunity to present doctored documents and to omit relevant information is decreased. This is false statement. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 1. Briefly describe the advantages and challenges of auditing digitally. Advantages: improved efficiency, better quality, lower cost, improved risk assessment. Challenges: reluctant to change, challenges with data security and governance, choosing the right tool and automating the right process, ensuring standardization and correct configurations to avoid errors and bias, evaluating business benefits the organization wants to achieve with automation, and the roadmap for digital strategy. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 2. What are the stages involved in understanding the IT environment and what key considerations auditors should consider? The stages involved in understanding of IT environment are: understand, identify, assess. Key considerations: understand the flow of transaction, identification of significant systems, identification of manual and automated controls, identification of the technologies used, and assessing the complexity of the IT environment. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 3. Auditors should scope in ITGCS to test when there are IT dependencies identified in the system. Briefly describe the types of IT dependencies. There are 5 types of IT dependencies. First one, automated controls. Next, reports. Next, calculations. Next, securities. Next, interfaces. Automated controls. Automated controls are designed into the IT environment to enforce business rules. Second, reports. System generated reports are information generated by IT systems. These reports are often used in an entity's execution of manual control, including business performance reviews, or maybe the source of entity information used by us when selecting items of testing, performing substantive tests of details, or performing a substantive analytical procedures. Next, calculations. Calculations are accounting procedures that are performed by an IT system instead of a person. Next, security. Security, including segregation of duties, is enabled by the IT environment to restrict access of information and to determine the separation of low roles and responsibilities that could allow an employee to perpetrate and conceal errors or frauds or to process errors that go undetected. Interfaces. Interfaces are programmed logic that transfer data from one IT system to another. For example, an interface may be programmed to transfer data from a payroll subledger to general ledger. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 4. What does cyber risk? Explain it with some examples. What is cyber risk? A cyber attack is an attempt to gain unauthorized access to a computing system or network with the intent to cause damage, steal, expose, alter, disable, or destroy data. Regulators across the globe have placed the topic of cyber risk management under increasing scrutiny, requiring financial institutions to assess the maturity of their cyber security program, manage cyber risks, and enhance resiliency against cyber attacks. Most common types of cyber attacks are malware, denial of service attacks, phishing, spoofing, and identity based attacks, insider threats, DNS tunneling, IoT based attacks. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 5. Briefly describe the cyber security framework. Cyber security framework. Cyber security framework includes how management is identifying the risk, protecting and safeguarding its assets, including electronic assets from the risk, management preparedness to detect the attacks, anomalies, and responsiveness to the adverse events. Cyber security framework includes 5 steps. First one, identify the risk. Second, protect the risk. Third, detect the risk. Fourth, respond to the risk. Fifth, recover from the risk. First one is identify. First, identify. Next, protect. Next, detect, respond, recover. These are the 5 steps involved in cyber security framework. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 6. What are the advantages and disadvantages of remote audit? Remote audit, advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of remote audit: cost and time effective, no travel time and travel cost involved. Next, comfort and flexibility to the audit team as they would be working from home environment. Time required to gather evidence can spread over several weeks instead of concentrated into a small periods that takes personnel from their daily activities. Auditor can get first-hand evidence directly from the IT systems as direct access may be provided, widens the selection of auditors from global network of the experts. Disadvantages: due to network issues, interviews and meetings can be interrupted, limited or no ability to visualize facility culture of the organization and the body language of the auditors. Time zone issues could also affect the efficiency of a remote audit session. The opportunity to present doctored documents and to omit relevant information is increased. This may call for additional planning, some additional or different audit procedures, security and confidentiality violation. Remote access to sensitive IT systems may not be allowed. Security aspects related to remote access and privacy needs to be accessed, to be assessed. Cultural challenges for the auditor, a lack of knowledge for local laws and regulations could impact audit. Audit procedures like physical verification of the assets and stock taking cannot be performed. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 7. In an automated environment, the data stored and processed in systems can be used to get various insights into the way business operates. This data can be useful for preparation of management information system reports and electronic dashboards that give a high level snapshot of the business process. In view of the above, you are required to briefly discuss the meaning of data analytics and examples of such data analytic techniques. Data analytic techniques: generating and preparing meaningful information from raw system data using process, tools, and techniques is known as data analytics. Audit analytics or audit data analytics involves analyzing large set of data to find actionable insights, trends, draw conclusions, and for informed decision making. The use of audit analytics enables greater efficiencies and more accurate findings from the review process. As a result, businesses will be able to create strategies based on verifiable data and professional assumptions, and auditors can improve the audit quality. It allows auditors to more effectively audit the large amounts of data held and processed in IT systems in larger clients. Data analytics helps to discover and analyze patterns, identify anomalies, extract other useful information in data. The data analytics methods used in an audit are known as computer assisted auditing techniques or CATs. It involves use of multiple data analytical tools or visualization tools that can help the auditor to deep dive into the problem statement and hence increase the audit quality. This also minimizes the scope of missing out on key attributes that might be of a higher risk to the organization and its respective businesses. Auditor performing audit analytics can make use of various applications or tools that help them to analyze large data sets and obtain insights that help them to make the quality of audit better. Some of the popular tools used across the industry as a part of CAT are listed below. ACL, Audit Command Language, Alteryx, Power BI, Caseware. Test your knowledge. Question number 8. Enterprises are adopting emerging technologies at a rapid pace to create synergies and harness the latest technologies. Give three examples of automated tools used as a part of emerging technologies, along with the risk and audit considerations associated with these tools. Automated tools in audit. Under that first one, Internet of Things. Internet of Things is the concept of connecting any device, cell phones, coffee makers, washing machines, and so on to the internet. Key components of Internet of Things are data collection, analytics, connectivity, and people and process. Internet of Things not only changes the business model but also affects the strategic objectives of the organization. The risk profile of the entity changes with exposure to new laws and regulations. Audit implications. A shift to connected devices and systems may result in auditors not being able to rely only on manual controls. Instead, auditors may need to scope new systems into their audit. Audit firms may need to train and upskill auditors to evaluate the design and operating effectiveness of the automated controls. Consumer facing tools that connect to business environments in new ways can impact the flow of transactions and introduce new risks for management and auditors to consider. Consider payment processing tools that allow users to pay via credit card at a retail location through a mobile device. This could create a new path for incoming payments that may rely in part or on a new service provider supplying the routing information incorrectly. Auditors would need to consider the volume of those transactions and the process and controls relating to it. Common risks of Internet of Things. The key risks associated with Internet of Things including device hijacking, data siphoning, denial of services attacks, data breaches, and device theft. Next, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence refers to a system or a machine that can think and learn. AI system utilizes data analysis and algorithms to make decisions based on predictive methods. Complex algorithms are developed to propose decisions based on a pattern or behavior learned over time. Auditor implications. Given the invisible nature of algorithms, audit audits must focus on the logic flow of process. A review of AI should ascertain whether unintended bias has been added to the algorithms. Auditors should assess the effectiveness of the algorithms and whether their output is appropriately reviewed and approved. Because AI is built on software modules, auditors must also consider cybersecurity and search for possible bugs and vulnerabilities that can be exploited to impact AI functionality. Auditors should confirm their understanding of how the use of AI affects the entity's flow of transactions, including the generation of reports or analytics used by the management. Auditors also should consider whether the AI is making decisions are being utilized by the management as a part of decision making process. Common risks for AI. AI comes with a list of risks. Security is one of the key risks. The more data the system uses from more sources, the more entry points and connections are formed, and greater the potential risks. Inappropriate configuration. AI may also be used to diagnose medical conditions. If it is badly configured or malfunctions, it could harm people before the problem is spotted. Data privacy. The data used and shared should have the necessary explicit consent from data providers. Next, blockchain. Blockchain is based on a decentralized and distributed ledger that is secured through encryption. Each transaction is validated by the blockchain participants, creating a block of information that is replicated and distributed to all the participants. All blocks are sequenced so that any modification or deletion of a block disqualifies the information. Despite resistance, the benefits associated with blockchain technology are being recognized across a variety of other industries. Audit implications. Auditor should consider the appropriate governance and security transactions around the transactions. Although blockchain's core security premise rests on cryptography, there are risk factors associated with it. As blockchain interacts with legacy systems and business partners, concerns related to insecure application programming interfaces, APIs, data confidentiality, and privacy cannot be ignored. Weak blockchain application development protocols are something auditors cannot overlook. Similarly, data privacy laws and regulations may be the area of concern as data are communicated across geographical boundaries. Auditors must be able to determine whether the data put on blockchain will expose the enterprise to liability for non compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Common risks for blockchain technology. The strengths of the blockchain can also be its weaknesses. The inability to reverse transactions and to access data without the required keys may be the system make the system secure, but also mean that organizations need specific protocols and management processes to ensure that they are not locked out and have clear contingency plans. Operating through network nodes could also expose the organization to cyber attacks and data hacks. So, security issues are important. Auditors should also ensure that the organization has the necessary data management process and complies with regulations. The regulatory landscape is still evolving for blockchain. So, audit teams should check that compliance managers are following developments constantly and adapting process accordingly. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 9. Emerging technologies can bring great benefits, but they also come with the varied set of substantial risks. Give some examples of technology risks of digital system and the consider control considerations to consider while assessing technology risk. Some examples of technology risks where auditors should test the appropriate controls for relying on the digital systems. Reliance on systems or programs that are inaccurately processing data, processing inaccurate data, or both unauthorized access to data that might result in destruction of data or improper changes to data, including the recording of unauthorized or non existent transactions or inaccurate recording of the transactions. Specific risks might arise when multiple users access a common data. The possibility of information technology personnel gaining access privileges beyond those necessary to perform their assigned duties, thereby leading to insufficient segregation of duties. Unauthorized or erroneous changes to the data in master files, unauthorized changes to system or programs, failure to make necessary or appropriate changes to system or programs, inappropriate manual intervention, potential loss of data, or inability to access data as required, risk introduced when using third party service providers, cybersecurity risks. Key steps for auditors in changing technology environment. As auditors obtain an understanding of the impact of the technology on a company's business, its system of internal control, and its financial reporting. Some important reminders include the following: maintain sufficient professional skepticism when reviewing management's risk assessment for new systems, understand the direct and indirect effects of the new technologies, and determine how its use by the entity impacts the auditor's overall risk assessment, understand how the technologies impact the flow of transactions, assess the completeness of the in scope ICFR systems, and design a sufficient and appropriate audit response. Assess the appropriateness of the management process to select, develop, operate, and maintain controls related to organization's technology based on the extent of the technology used. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 10. Give example of emerging technologies available for next generation audit along with the risks associated with it. Examples are virtual banking transactions, digital asset management, virtual financial education and training, virtual meetings and conferences, data visualization and analytics. Common risks associated are beyond their potential. These technologies also come with challenges such as public safety, cybersecurity, data privacy, data protection, lack of standards, and technical challenges. Since they often track movements and data, massive amounts of data and generated about the whereabouts of users. It also raises questions about taxation, jurisdiction, and customer protection. Regulators and auditors have to think of the controls around privacy, data security, governance to make it more regulated.